Hey guys, how's it going? This is like the hardest review I've ever done. I've stopped and started so many times on this one. The first take was like 30 minutes, and there was like 20 of those minutes was just like 1,000 yard stares, just like out the window. It was a very, very difficult film to discuss. It's not even a review, this is just really my thoughts um, pertaining to this wonderful film, One More Time with Feeling, that I saw last night at the Egyptian Theater here in Los Angeles. Uh, I haven't updated this channel for about a year because I had a falling out with cinema. I felt for a little while there that it was dead, that it was not relevant, or that it was dying, that its power was greatly diminished over the last decade or so, and I just arrived too late because I focus on a lot of film-related projects behind all this review stuff. I was having a serious crisis. I still kind of am. I don't have any answers. I have no answers. I haven't come to any conclusions. But I saw this film last night, and this was the first thing that really moved me in a long, long time. And that doesn't even sound. Words are very difficult to. I can't find them. I can't find words to describe how heavy this is, how heavy the experience was. Yeah. Normally I write my reviews and I just have them on a doc here on the laptop, and I just kind of read off them and try and make eye contact and whatever, but today I'm just doing one take. I'm just going to riff on it. And Nick Cave is a musician from Australia originally, who started out in a group called The Boys Next Door, which eventually turned into The Birthday Party. The Birthday Party had a tremendous impact on me when I was about 20, and I think I was listening to this live album by them in Lisbon, Portugal. I was traveling around Europe for the first time, and I think I might have discovered Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds by that point, but The Birthday Party was huge for me. It's kind of like an all-star cast. You have Nick Cave, of course, with the vocals, and you have Roland S. Howard, Australian guitarist, maybe like one of the best in history. Nobody sounds like him, but everybody's copied his sound. And somebody who was all but forgotten, my favorite bass player of all time, named Tracy Pugh, who was just this shit-kicking son of a bitch who wore a cowboy hat with a huge mustache, and I had never seen somebody give less fucks on stage before, maybe. In this clip on German television of him just like humping this bass in this cowboy hat, I had no idea that could look so cool. And that bass hump basically changed my fucking life. Yeah, so. No, but in all seriousness, The Birthday Party was huge for me. That was it showed me what you could do with music. It was as big as when I discovered punk rock, or when I watched maybe some no wave stuff, or some Swans, or when I learned about all that great music. And then of course, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, the very first album, From Her to Eternity, was this incredibly dread-filled, anxiety-ridden, kind of insidious, creeping, crawling, lurching, hulking, skulking, musical, sinister orgy. I don't even know what to describe it as. I heard Saint Huck, and that was phenomenal. I couldn't believe what I was listening to at one point. I think that was the first song they wrote too. And then of course, within that band you had like Einstürzende Neubautens Blixen Bargeld on guitar, And that, his whole thing, those circles were just as interesting to me. So everything was kind of like incestuous and permeated all of these different groups, and the music of that time, the late '80s in Berlin and then New York and all this stuff, and it's the best out there. It's incredible. And the Gun Club here in Los Angeles and all the stuff, Jeffrey Lee Pierce and all that kind of like bluesy rock, the Cramps, and then all of that stuff, all of those groups like that's my era. That's it for me. That's the best. But and then Cave went on to do his solo stuff, and that was great, and it's still fantastic. I don't know how to talk about this. Yeah, I mean that's. It's I want to I think if you're looking for an objective review of the film, then you should absolutely look elsewhere. I'm sure there are plenty of really nice ones on like whatever, The Guardian or something. I don't care. It's going to be subjective for me. It was an extremely emotional experience, as I'm sure it is for many, many, many people who have also suffered a loss of someone that they love in their life. 10 days before, so my dad passed away July 4th, 2015, and 10 days after that, Nick Cave's son, Arthur Cave, fell off of a cliff in Brighton to his death. And this film was started about 6 months after that. It documents the production of the new Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds album, The Skeleton Tree, which I think was like released today or yesterday. And they were working on The Skeleton Tree when Arthur passed away, and so everything changed, right? Everything dramatically changed. Understatement. And so, of course, I was curious, and I don't mean to bring myself into this because I don't want to detract from this tragedy that happened to this boy. It's sort of just like it's a tough balance, I don't know what to do, and I don't want to be insensitive, and that's basically what I got from this entire thing. Is that's the reason it's so difficult, is because nobody knows how to talk about this at all. Nobody knows how to talk about this. Not the people who were close to it or not close to it, or it's so difficult. It just opens this chasm. There's just this gulf between people where words fall into, and it doesn't work. So, so I'm just gonna try and tell it how it is. I in my own personal life, I suffered a loss as well. Although it is no tragedy when an old man dies, as somebody once told me, and I do agree with that. It is something else entirely when a child dies, and or when your child, your son or daughter dies. I can't even fathom. I don't. There's something that just does not register. I may never understand. I hope I never fully understand or experience this. I only have a faint glimmer of what see, there's a 1,000-yard stare. This has been happening all morning. I can't the film is magnificent. It's by Andrew Dominic, who is an Australian director. He also made The Assassination of Jesse James, which I think Cave actually scored and had a small part in as well. He made one called Chopper before that, which I heard was really great, but I never got to see. He was there. Did a little Q&A, which was very uncomfortable and kind of just like goofy, and everybody's sort of like, not really sure what to say after such an emotional experience. The film is shot in beautiful black and white in 3D, and Nick Cave, of course, is in it along with his bandmates Warren Ellis. There's this amazing violinist, an incredible musician, and of course his wife Susie, and his other son, and just about everybody on the crew, including the director. I mean, like everybody is in there. It's this very interesting collaborative experience that takes place entirely in the studio where they are constructing this unbelievably heavy album. So the atmosphere is always just, and they don't even talk about what has happened until maybe like it felt like 3/4 into the film, which was very smart in my opinion. Because going into this, you I would say like 99.9% of people know what has happened in the context of this piece. I've never seen a film like this ever, and that, in a selfish way, is kind of like what sort of restored my I guess you could call it faith in film, my hope in film. You do make a choice to be happy, like he talks about in the film, and you keep going. You keep working. You keep working on things that you understand that ultimately really have no significance. The part of the film that there was a scene where a female vocalist comes in, and they're all playing the music in the studio, and then the camera, in a very Gaspar Noé kind of way, sort of like drifts out through her and through the walls and out over the town, where you see the sun coming up, and then it pulls out even further, and you see the bird's eye view of all the streets lit in the morning with the cars and people, and then the sun coming from behind the earth eventually when it zooms back far enough, which that's the scene. I wouldn't have expected that to be the scene that really threw me over the emotional edge, and thank God they have these 3D glasses, because that means you can hide the tears of which there was like a plethora for me in this one instance specifically, because I remembered something that my mother was talking about when my father passed away, which was the strangest thing is that the sun rises the next day. It seems unfathomable, and it seems cruel that the world continues, life continues, because it's indifferent, and there's no narrative other than maybe you're born and you die, But we all try to make some sort of sense out of this whole thing, and that's what Nick Cave seemed to be kind of struggling with in the film, is that, what's expected of the whole thing, the whole operation of this film, is that the big question is there hope afterwards? Is it going to be okay, basically? Is there something that we can take away from this, that we can assimilate, that can be made of use for the rest of us when we have to experience the loss of somebody we love, which is inevitable, of course, for all of us drifting through this whole thing. And the answer is no. No. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Except to try and be strong, to try and have the strength to carry on, and even often that's not enough. And that is the way of the world. And that's very frightening. And it's very sad. And it's okay, and it's not okay. It's alright, and it's not. The ambiguity of the grieving process was so brilliantly portrayed, or I don't know if the ambiguity is the right word, but the I don't know, the impossibility of reconciliation with something this bad, and maybe for many people, with the loss of loved ones, wives or sons or daughters or parents, maybe. But I'd never seen a film that seemed to be so honest in a way, and true. It was a beautiful balance of kind of just poetry and reality. The cliff in Brighton where Arthur Cave fell off is right on the ocean, and you can see, the sunset from there. And there's that line from Arthur Rimbaud's A Season in Hell. What is eternity? Or it's like something like poetry leads us to eternity. What is eternity? It's the sun matched with the sea. And I couldn't help but think about that when they showed the cliff in the ending with the view. It's strange to think that might have been the last thing that boy saw. That poor kid. Yeah. I don't need to take anything away from it. It stands on its own as this incredible film. It's also playing this Saturday if you're in the Los Angeles area. You should go and watch the damn thing, especially if you're a fan of Nick Cave. Of course. Of course. But, maybe since, The Act of Killing by Joshua Oppenheimer was pretty close, in its impression on me, just of the visceral quality, the reality of the reality that it was able to portray right in front of you. And so few fiction films open up that space, which is where I don't want to sound too lofty, but where music and poetry leads us, that impossible to communicate space where it is communicated, but it's not through words, it's through images or sounds, or maybe a combination of all of them. It's it's profound. It's profound. I have never seen anything like it, and I think it will endure. And it will help. And it is exactly what needed to happen. And of course, the big risk that the director was actually discussing last night, very courageously, by the way, is whether or not it was going to be like grief porn, or it was going to come off as marketing this album, sales, more sales because of a tragedy, that kind of thing, which of course is not, doesn't come off that way in the slightest. I mean, music's great too, definitely. It's very, very sad, but yeah, it's wonderful music. So, oh God, I am trying, guys. I don't know. I mean, maybe cinema's dying too. Maybe the whole thing's changing. Everything moves. It doesn't stop moving. It doesn't stop for anybody. It just feels like it should sometimes. It's immense. I hope everybody. I hope you're all doing all right. I hope that Nick Cave and his family will be all right. And I'm very, very thankful to them for making this film, because this is the closest, this is the most accurate representation of the aftermath that I've ever come into contact with. Yeah, I mean, like the impossibility of it, the impossibility of reconciling it, or reconciliation, reconciling. Yeah. Yeah, go listen to the album and go watch the film. I think I'm out of energy. I don't know what else to say. You guys are doing all right. I will start uploading more film reviews. So, stay tuned, and hug your loved ones, and try to be strong. Talk to you guys later.